Pro-life, you said?
Yep, you're right.
Oh, how fun. Yeah, good for you.
You mentioned something in your speech about blacks becoming more pro-life across the country. I was wondering if you could expand on that. I know that's great news for pro-lifers, and we're
Right.
wondering what you've seen.
Well, a lot of the pro-life black leaders are getting the message harder into the communities, forcing it down into the communities through billboard campaigns, through a lot of lectures, to talk to them about what our abortion rates look like. And people are responding. The pastors are responding, people are responding, so we're starting to build that coalition.
What do you think's been most effective in communicating? I know the pro-life community's really struggled with good ways to do black outreach. What do you think's been most effective recently?
I think what's been most effective is to hear from other African Americans. So the best thing that we can do is make sure that people that are from those communities are going there and saying, hey, did you know that this is occurring in your community? Have you seen these abortion numbers? Do you know what it's doing to our families and what it's doing to our community and what it's doing to this nation and what it's doing to God, frankly? So that has made a big difference. We've got some good spokespersons who are taking the time to go and share our story as pro-lifers. Black women are already overwhelmed having committed abortion because there's just so many. I mean, I myself post-abortive. It wasn't until after the fourth time that I had to think about what I'm doing. And so this is a new discussion that African Americans are having. And so it helps to have somebody that is an understanding vessel from the community.
You mentioned something that I think is very difficult to figure out how to deal with. Dealing with post-abortive women, and you've got racial issues, you've got post-abortive issues. What do you think is the most compelling message to post-abortive minority women to bring them to pro-life values?
Well, two things. One, that God is not mad at them, that it is okay to say it out loud. But number two, separating it from the political to the degree that we care about them and humanity. And then third, connecting it to the political realities that they keep electing people who are pro-abortion, which keeps breaking other people and breaking their lives. And so to sell it to a woman that you don't want someone else to experience the hurt, the pain, the shame that you're going through, this is the reason you should become more engaged in the pro-life movement, is a very different message than here's what we're doing, just come get involved in it.
What do you think of the message of Margaret Sanger and the history of kind of the roots of abortion? Do you think that's been effective, or is that kind of too far removed to be moving?
Well, we use Margaret Sanger as a focal point to say Planned Parenthood is not your friend, and then to show the African American community the connection between Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, and her beliefs in terms of eugenicide. But the challenge is that Planned Parenthood is in the hard-hit communities where other medical services are not. So It's a hard sell to say you should shut down your only medical facility to African Americans. So what's more effective is to show them the damage that's being done in the womb, and then to connect it to the damage that's been done to society and to black family life as a result of people being post-abortive.
Right. In terms of separating the desire to not only be persuasive to the black community, but also to recruit more effective minority spokespeople and activists, what do you think is effective and would be effective for the pro-life movement to recruit more minority and African Americans specifically, spokespeople, activists, people involved in the community?
Well, the first thing is to help the black community confront what they've been doing, and so the best way to do that is to go through the churches, through the women's meetings, the pastor's wife. One of the strategies of the pro-life community for so long was to go to the pastor. Well, if you go to the pastor and you're talking about pro-life, and then you get him engaged, and then he goes home and he tells his wife, well, she could be post-abortive. She could be post-abortive, he didn't even know it, because this has been a horror in our society for the last 38 years. So the best thing to do is go to the wife and then to talk to her and get her healed, and help her walk through the healing that will come forth if you are post-abortive. Then go through the pastor's wives' meetings. Most pastors' wives have their own women's conferences, women's meetings, and then that way the women of the church can begin the healing process. Another error that we've made over over the last, well, I've been engaged in pro-life work for now at least 30 years. Another mistake that we've made is we want to go and we want to talk about it from the pulpit. Well, there are post-abortive women sitting there that now have just been uncovered. So it's just a better strategy to work from the bottom up, to get the smaller groups and bubble up. Get them to put the baby bottles in the back of the church, kind of thing, just incrementally.
So one-on-one and kind of be very aware of the post-abortive women that need individual healing?
One-on-one with the pastor's wife, then next with her leadership, then next with her women, then to the church. That's just a more effective strategy in Black America, because the church is full of women, but you do have a significant amount of men there. And when you have a pastor who's allowing someone to come in and talk about abortion and the congregation doesn't know, there's just an uncovering that takes place. And so it becomes more sensitive, and then the women become much more defensive. By the time he gets back to work on Tuesday after Monday is off, he's heard from the pro-choice people in his congregation. So it's very difficult to use that strategy. I think more effective is to talk to the pastors' wives.
Now, what about college-aged African-American political activists on pro-life? How would you recommend, is the strategy any different for reaching those people and trying to bring them into pro-life activism?
I think the younger generation is very different because they're survivors. So the campaigns that are on the campuses showing the aborted fetuses and others are working very effectively. We're not seeing the numbers of them sign up, but because the political gets in the way. But we are getting a response from them as a result of those that are on the campuses. With the Student for Life, I do a lot of college campuses, and our numbers of Black women are increasing as a result of us sharing information about what abortion is doing, not just to their community, but to the nation.
Thanks for your speech and thanks for your comments.
You're welcome.
Really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
You're so welcome.
God
Thank
bless.
you. Bye-bye.